Hi, here we are on page 2 of our Algebra and Geometry worksheet. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at this worksheet, the back of it, and see if you think you can do these problems on your own. If you think you can do these problems on your own, I want you to try them all right now, pause the video, and see if that's possible for you. If you say, oh, I need some extra help and I want to do it along with you, that's fine. Be my guest. I'll walk you through these problems. So, when I look at this first problem, it's a triangle. And like I said on the last video, triangles sum to 180 degrees. So that will give me my equation. C plus 20 plus 35 equals 180. I'm going to rewrite that so I can do it in my work area. So I've got C plus 20 plus 35 equals 180. I'm going to draw my line down in order to remember that algebra is polite. What I do to the left, I do to the right. When I look at this, I see that I can combine some like terms. I have two terms that are constants, so I'm going to combine them right now. 20 plus 35 is 55. So I'm going to write C plus 55 equals 180. Now I've got a one-step problem. If I look at this, my 55 is positive. I'm going to subtract that from both sides. When I do that, my 55s will cancel out. That'll leave me with C on this side and 125 on the other. So that means that angle C is 125 degrees. Okay, let's go to the next problem. It's a triangle. We're going to set it up in the same way. It just has a different variable and different numbers. So I'm going to say that A plus 56 plus 35 equals 180. I'm going to rewrite that in my workspace. If you look at this, I've got the same thing. I've got two numbers right there that I can combine. They're like terms, they're constants. 56 plus 35 is 91. So I'm going to say A plus 91 equals 180. Now I'm going to subtract my 91 from both sides of my equation. When I do that, this is going to cancel. 91 cancels 91 out, and that leaves me with A equals 89. That means that the measure of angle A is 89 degrees. Now, if you look at the next problem, I've got two angles. One says it's 36 degrees and the other says it's 2x. If I were to put those angles together, they would make a straight line or a straight angle, and I know that straight angles are 180 degrees. Another thing we learned about these two angles is that they are supplementary, which means when I have two angles that sum to 180 degrees. That gives us our equation. I'm going to start out with the variable. I'm going to say 2x plus 36 equals 180. Now I'll rewrite that. In my work area. Now, when I look at this, the first thing that I have to do is get rid of this 36. I'm going to subtract it from both sides. When I do that, it cancels out. So that's going to leave me with 2x on this side and 144 on that side. So what that means is my x is not by itself. It has a coefficient of a 2. So I need to divide that by 2. When I divide the 2 by 2, they're going to cancel out. That's just going to give me an x. I'm just going to run into this other area. So on this side I have x. And on this side I have 144 divided by 2, and that gives me 72. However, that's not the answer to what the measure of the angle is. If you come back over here, x equals 72. But the measure of my angle is 2 times x. So I really need to say that the measure of my angle is 2 times 72. And if I multiply that out, I'm going to get 144 degrees. If I went back and I add these two angles together, 144 plus 36, they sum to 180. That's how I know I'm correct. Okay, I'm going to erase this bottom part to go on to the next problem. Okay, here's our last problem. If you look at the last problem, you'll remember that I've got an angle here, and I've got a right angle. So I know that those two angles have to sum to 90 degrees. That means they're complementary. That gives me my equation. X plus 3 plus 64 equals 90. Now I'm going to rewrite that in my workspace. I've got terms that I can combine. I can combine my 3 and my 64. So I get x plus 67 equals 90. Now, it's just a one-step equation. I need to subtract 67 degrees from both sides. When I do that, the 67s will cancel. I'll be left with what x equals. And x equals 23. But just like at the last problem, that's what x equals. So if I go over here to where my diagram is and I say x equals 23, I need to look at what the measure of my angle was. Well, the measure of my angle is x plus 3. So that means that my angle equals 26 degrees. And see if that makes sense. If I add 26 plus 64, it comes back out to 90. And there we go.